a podcast created by two guys brought together by movement, transformed into brotherhood. The boys share their authenticity as they deep dive into what it means to explore this human experience, shedding light on personal trials and accumulated wisdom. Conscious Collingwood is meant to provoke thought and insight to expand your personal awareness. Come along for the journey as Justin and Jeff exemplify what it means to be a man living wholeheartedly, balancing the divine, masculine, and feminine. Welcome to Conscious Collingwood.
Mouth. I gotta really learn to pronunciate. I gotta be a little more like Justin.
I feel like I need to move more like Jeff.
You know what I said? Like you, listening to you talk, especially whether it's in class and you do your stuff.
Yes.
I love it. And when your words come out, it's like it's from the divine, and you're saying, like, you can taste the words.
Yeah.
When you find the right word,
Yeah.
it's like the delivery's awesome. Yeah, it impacts me.
Did I tell you? So I did a human design reading,
Mm-hmm.
and the woman in human design said that my seventh chakra is completely open, and then 2 days later, I'm talking to a medium, and I'm just like, well, what's your process? Excuse me. And she's like, well, people can book with me, but as soon as I see their name pop up on my phone, I know exactly what they need. Yeah. So you can go in and be like, I would love this. She does several different modalities, and she knows what you need.
Yeah.
And so she does like head massage, reflexology, and then mediumship, which is like guided medium session. And she said, so I just want to be clear with you that you're open to receiving, and I could teach you how. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to open that door, because the thing is, if you open it,
You can't close it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you can.
But then there was the thought that, well, if I'm open to receiving, is it inevitable? And would it be an injustice to my participation on this planet if I didn't? So
Are you thinking that, or she was? She probably.
I'm thinking this because I thought about it a lot. And this friend that I went on a walk with has also been dabbling in mediumship, and she's been training for the last 3 years, and she had the same fears as me. So we were kind of chatting about it. So, very interesting. But I felt that whenever I tried to over plan things, classes, what I was going to say, all that kind of stuff, I just stumble on my words. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. But when I just released all the expectations and just started talking, all the right words came to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that rehearsing, whether you're writing it down in notes before class or you're trying to prepare, it's like, it's going to flow in the moment anyway.
Yeah.
Because you already know what you're going to say or do because you're writing it down. So just wait for the moment.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to pick up, I would only assume, on the energy of the class and the vibe and what the class needs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might take notes prior, and that might should maybe go out the window because maybe the class is too sensitive or people are tired. Maybe they want to be amped up. Maybe they want to go somewhere else. And so you got to feel that.
Yeah, and especially with like working one-on-one with clients when they're in pain too, because I work with a lot of people as a PT, and if I try to like have an agenda, I'm not really serving them.
Mm-hmm.
How did they sleep last night? What emotional, physical, and mental stress are they dealing with right in this moment today? And what can we do to really like help them in the moment, in this hour? If you have an agenda, it can push them over, or it might not be enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I find a lot of the times you need to know your shit,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But I think everything is almost a language. Like teaching a yoga class, you start speaking by teaching. You learn the postures, which are words, and then as you start teaching, you're speaking the language to people that understand, and then over time, you are able to form sentences, which would be like a sequence of flows, and then you just get better and better and better at it, and then get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Read the room, but also show up authentically as you are that day, and that'll be the most powerful class ever.
I love that. It's kind of the art of surrender. It's literally not being planned and not trying to control the future situation, because you have to read the current situation, right? I'm applying it to myself today listening to you. It's because I had goals of getting up early this morning, and I wanted to be in my office doing some stuff, catching up with some homework I have to do with a couple things. And I got up, but my brain convinced my body it needed rest, because I was fatigued, but I was also awake. And next thing you know, a couple hours goes by, I'm like, for fuck's sakes. Like, I kind of spanked myself a little bit. But, today too, it's kind of, did we prompt this today or yesterday? Recording today. Did I message you this morning?
You messaged me last night.
Yeah. My point is, it's like, I had a bit of an agenda. Our men's group went longer than expected to some degree. And then there was some lingering conversation, which is fine. But it's like, my plan for the day is pretty much out the window. And so it's just going back to going, it wasn't meant to be sort of thing.
Yeah.
And some might argue that, well, that's just irresponsible with your time. But for me, I'm really in a position of just surrendering to what is. The ideas and plans I had for the day weren't meant to be, or I would have been more strict with them or whatever else. So just in everything you're sharing, I'm just like, just applying that to everyday life just eases the angst, eases the stress, because it's like, none of it fucking matters anyway. So just live in the moment, and whatever's supposed to come through will,
Stress is the number one reason for illness. It's the inability to be comfortable with all that is in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because inevitably it's, uncontrolled.
Mm-hmm.
But we try to control things, and then we get overwhelmed when our expectations aren't met. And your expectations are inevitably not going to be met.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to work pretty hard, and I think you and I both know that when in construction you got shit to do, and you get it done, you're like,
yeah,
I fucking laid it out online today. I feel really happy with the product. But when, and that's like, that's physical stress, mental stress, and could be emotional stress, like grinding that hard for that many hours. But at the end of the tunnel, there's that release or that relief. And it's important to take yourself there sometimes, but I think the most important key is to always see things for the way they are, release your expectations of how it's going to turn out, or release your expectations of the uncontrollable things, because it's inevitably uncontrollable.
Yeah.
Control what you can, but maintain your center always.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, like myself, you're the same, where we always get shit done. Like, when we put our heads down, we're going to get it done. I feel like I'm wrestling with a little bit of procrastination right now, and I actually had a chat with Terry with this yesterday, but how that shows up for me, how she sees it from her being my partner, my wife, and just through her lens, what does she see? So we had a really good conversation, but I've been in this period of just trying to create so much space that I do have some things that have kind of piled up, and so for me it feels a little overwhelming because it feels there's a lot to do. But if I start chipping away at it, there's really not that much. It's just the visual of it all. But my point is, I've always been someone who gets shit done, so it really shouldn't be a stressor to me. It's just I've really found that I have to line up with whatever I'm doing. If the energy isn't aligned, then there's no point of even. It's just like smashing my head against this wall. Because when the energy is aligned, I'll get it done in no time. And I think most people are that way. It's just being able to get out of your way and recognize that, So procrastinate, and I think we had this discussion at the movement experience. I think procrastination goes two ways. It can be things you're avoiding that you should just put your head down and do it, whether it's a phone call or an exercise, or maybe it is something to do with your job. Or sometimes it's just like being able to step back and go, this just isn't vibing right now. Like, I just might as well go do something else. Take a nap, go for a walk, have a phone call do something else than trying to force the effort of doing something. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm trying to have some self-awareness is, okay, when's it time I feel enthused to do it? And when it's like, no, I need to go do something else, clean this room or go for a drive or whatever, right? So it's...
I often, my procrastination is, I procrastinate best cleaning or organizing my apartment because I need order to think clearly, but then it'll take me fucking forever. Yeah. And I'm like, I have no time to even do the work. But to touch on the human design reading, which actually was quite interesting, in astrology, human design, you choose how much you want to believe in it. It really is like insight into your essence of like how you may be. And if it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, throw it out the window. Just be yourself. But she said that for me, that my energy will always feel like there's a lot to do because I really want to participate in this life. So I'm always going to feel this like, you know, this angst of like, there's shit to do, there's stuff to do, there's things I want to like be doing right now. But just to know that that's how my mind works and to not overly invest my energy in expectations of getting certain things done. Just know that there's going to be a low level because I want to do everything. I have a lot of big dreams and that's fine. Just to see it as it is so that I can recognize that part of me, but not allow myself to stress myself out with expectations.
Yeah, that's interesting. What's coming through for me is the kind of comparable is our family went to see Pink there last week, and she put on a phenomenal concert, like just phenomenal. And I always leave those venues feeling enthused, motivated, but also slightly depressed, like I'm not doing enough with my life. What are you laughing at?
Yeah, that woman she's slung across the stadium.
Yeah, so I'm
like, of course you feel that way.
But I'm like, you know, I'm really not trying, and I stepped back and I was like, okay, let's make sure we're not comparing ourselves to someone who has some fucking crazy God-given talents that no one else has, because she's really the only one that's flying through the air singing in perfect pitch. Like, it's insane. But, you know, I wasn't meant to be a hockey player or a golfer or some huge business tycoon. I'm really trying to make sure I settle into who Jeff is supposed to be. But I do wrestle with this energy of I'm meant for more, but at the same time, we're just hurtling and spinning through space on a rock. Like, I'm in this weird space right now of just trying to not figure out life, but like, where am I going to direct my energy that's best going to serve me and my family and those around me? And I feel like I have some answers, but I also feel like I don't have any answers. So it's just this weird. I think that's where some of the procrastination comes from too, because I'm lit up by certain things, but other things I'm just, it's a flicker. It's like, am I supposed to chase that or not? Because most things when it came to Ike's Turf or this place, the golf club, like they were definitive yeses. Like nothing was going to stop me. Where this other stuff right now, like even the coaching stuff, I feel called to coach. I'm being told I should speak more and support. I have the compassion and the empathy, but I'm not waking up out of bed going, okay, this is my drive right now. And so I might be in a season of rest. I'm still just building towards it, and that time will come. But as of right now, it's just not. It's a weird vibe right now that I'm living in.
I've lived a lot of my life in that space, and I think it's time to recalibrate the compass, and you can't it takes time to tune a guitar, calibrate a compass. Like, it actually takes time. It takes that devoted exploration of yourself. But it's just sitting with it, not forcing something, allowing shit to come in, and some flows through you, and then some you want to hold on to and explore. But yeah, it's not stressing yourself out with expectations.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that, because it's a reminder that I have conditioned myself, if you will, to be a certain way for the last, for sure, 20 years, if not longer. And so now pivoting away from construction and the rise and grind stuff, and my nervous system was like, what's going on? My mind's, what's going on? Like it's unfamiliar, right? Like taking the summer to recalibrate, because that's what it does feel like. And I'm actually, not to be cheesy, but proud of myself that I'm not beating myself up every day. Like this morning when I didn't wake up when I wanted to, I actually journaled about it, got it out, and then I've just let it go. Where before I would have, it probably would have ruined me for 3 days.
Spanking yourself.
Yeah, and not in a good way.
Yeah, it's that's so. Life is like there's two ways of making money: grind, chase, drive, which you did it, great, it works. Sustainability piece, not so much.
Yeah.
Sustainability is low. Ease and flow, find what you love to do. Yes, there is the chase, there is the grind, there is the time commitment there, but sustainability is a lot higher.
Yeah.
And then eventually you find ease and flow.
Mm-hmm.
Ease and flow. And your nervous system, your physical body, your hormones, they all start just regulating a little bit, like in a healthier way.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sustainability piece.
Yeah.
But when you rise and grind and chase for so long, you're just calibrated to doing that.
Yeah.
So it is. I had a really hard time leaving drywall, working hard every day, and then deciding, okay, I'm going to be a coach. And even when COVID hit, it was like, whoa, like, what do I do with my day? And there's almost a little bit of like this depression in I'm not achieving anything. It's just same day after day. I'm just kind of I'm not seeing the fruits. Like I used to be able to build something, see it. Oh, I feel like I achieved something today, and then I can walk away.
Yeah.
But even if I like spent the morning writing something, it wasn't the same. So I had to like learn how to see my achievements differently, because they were physical form or a material thing, and now they're almost like a more cerebral product.
Yeah.
Or
That's
it's
good.
knowledge gained.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned something today.
Yeah.
That could help people, but I don't see the end result.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's
Yeah.
a good way of putting it. Good comparable. Oh man. And with all that being said too, like I'm not opposed to the rise and grind. I think it served me very well, and I wouldn't be where I am without that. And I think it serves its purpose, and it's time to move on. I think there's a lot of people in this world right now that could use that mentality, obviously. Right? So it's there to serve a purpose, and then when it's no longer serving, it's time to kind of move on. But there's a lot of people like me that could use that mentality and that David Goggins drive, right? Like just.
So where do you channel it now? Because it's still a part of you. You change form.
Like an example, when I was supporting Everlove in the backyard, like nothing stopped. Like I was just, you saw me. It's just what I do. When I get into that mode and it feels like breathing, it just put my head down and get shit done. And it really doesn't matter how many hours it takes.
What's something you do every day that you still harness that side of you?
It would be the physical movement, like working out, the daily dose nutrition, but more so, like I said this before, like I feel more comfortable. I could swing a kettlebell for 8 hours a day as opposed to swinging a sledgehammer or a fucking hammer. Like it's so beyond me, and it's not that I can't do it, but it's not serving me in that capacity. Where taking care of this meat suit is what I'm kind of passionate about right now, and that was the focus on the summer, was to kind of regroup, recalibrate, and take care of myself the best I could. So I think that'd be the quick answer, would be to, that energy's been kind of redirected to physical movement and exercise. but yeah, I'm looking for that spark, and that spark comes from me in waves where I want to create programs, or I want to focus on this or this writing here, whatever else. And other times the day just gets sidetracked and it goes to shit, so to speak, and kind of is what it is. So I would also say then, if it's exercise, that energy is also going to surrendering. It takes a lot of work to live in surrender and live in the moment. It's a huge practice. It takes a lot of energy because your brain wants to achieve and build something physical, or you didn't do enough. So for me now, it's like if I take care of this today, that's at least one thing, and it's enough, right? Because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. Man, dude, we were driving home from our cousins there on Sunday, and it might have been because we had a late night on the Saturday. We were up to like 3 a.m. or something, just chatting and whatever else. Sipping on a few things. But I wasn't hungover. I was more fatigued than I thought I was hungover. But like, just listening to my body, I had the worst cramp in my fucking left leg, like quad, hip flex, everything. Like, it's so painful. And I rolled the bejesus of it when I got home, and it subsided a little bit, but it was still there. But I woke up, I was hydrated, ate a little cleaner, things back, and it went away. And so for me, it's just a reminder that this thing wants what's best for it at all times now. Mm-hmm. It doesn't want you to take a break. It wants to ride that lightning momentum. Mm-hmm. Don't fuck around, And so it's a practice now of, okay, making sure I do what's best for this body and the mind, and then surrendering to what the day brings,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's your baseline. Your baseline is always shifting.
It's changed for sure.
The healthier choices you make, you're like, I used to be able to fucking hammer out beers all night, every day of the weekend, and work Monday to Friday, no big deal. And then when you start like possibly removing alcohol and eating a little bit cleaner, one hit of a poor choice or a choice that reduces life force energy because you've increased it so much, it feels like it's more tangible.
Yeah,
it's harder to manage because you're now calibrated to vibrate at a higher frequency.
Yeah, and it doesn't even feel like it's because I'm 40 now and my body's changing. It's not. I feel like my body's 18. Like when I look back at photos of me when I was younger, I'm healthy. Like I look scrawny and pale and just whatever. I feel pretty friggin' good these days. But yeah, you're right. The baseline has changed, and there's also a grieving process and all that. It's like, because the friend circle is going to change a little bit, habits are going to change, and it's just different. So it's interesting to witness, and I love to have the self-awareness that I'm just not like going, oh, my leg's just sore because I ran, or it's just was sitting in the truck. It's like, no, there's something else my body's telling me, and I don't even think it's, I was going to say there about being 40 or maturity thing. It's literally a change in vibration. Mm-hmm. You could call that maturity to some degree, but it's because if I was younger, I would have the knowledge that I shouldn't be maybe consuming certain things, but it's literally a different vibration now. Mm-hmm. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. It's your life force energy.
Yeah.
That's what you just got called. Life force energy.
Yeah.
As soon as you got a lot of life force energy,
whew,
you're vibrating. You're buzzing.
But I've shared with you a couple times, like through the first half of this challenge, your challenge, things have felt really good, and I've just paused the momentum a couple days, and it's just enough to go, fuck, like, God, I like that more than it was worth the day and a half of losing that momentum,
I was telling a client today about momentum, and forward momentum in your life is always happening. It's either... It's funny how momentum will, when momentum rolls downhill, it picks up speed real quick. Mm-hmm. And you feel like shit real fucking fast. But positive momentum uphill is challenging. It's work. Mm-hmm. It's dedication. But it has positive feelings. You get higher. You get higher and higher and higher. But that momentum is either going up or it's going down, but it's always going somewhere. Mm-hmm. So your life is never like anybody that's like trying to live in the past, like, oh, I wish I wasn't aging so fast. Like life, day by day, like the summer's going by. But of course, it's inevitable. That's life. It's always moving forward. And you can see it as it is, or you can create a stress, literal internal stress for yourself. Not being okay with the things that are unchangeable, the things that are inevitable in life, like time.
Yeah.
You just have to accept it for what it is. Manage it the best you can.
Yeah.
And not let it pull you from your center. But it's always forward momentum. You just choose if it's going to be positive or if you're going to roll down the hill. And know that rolling down the hill, you'll pick up speed real quick.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. Yeah. I like that. I don't know why it was coming to me. I think Abraham Hicks talks about that a little bit. Like if you have a car at the top of a hill, it's going downhill. It's going to pick up momentum. And then the challenge is it picks up so much speed. You just can't stop in front of it and stop it. It's going to bowl you over. So it's going to take some time to slow that car.
Yeah. You can't just pull the e-brake.
No. Fuck a Jimmy. No, we got to calm this.
You're going to break something.
Yeah.
If you try stopping that's actually really, this is good analogy in the sense that if you pull that e-brake, it might bust something.
Yeah.
You have to like push the brake slowly.
Yeah.
Really take your time to slow the machine down and then build it. And put it into first gear.
Some might be able to do it, but in the essence of someone who's maybe abusing some substances or food or whatever, it's like if all of a sudden you're going to stop, change your diet, stop drinking, next thing you know, your friend circle is going to have to change, relationships, all this sort of stuff. You have, how many buckets that are changing at once? Like that's a lot of your nervous system. So, and there's a guy I follow too.
It's a lot of our physical system too.
Yeah.
Organs, glands.
Yeah. It's just about making those daily changes at a micro level, right? And then they kind of compound that up. You talked about that before.
Compound interest.
Yeah, with the body. Yeah. But when we set these big goals and too many of them, it's just, those are kind of unattainable.
Yeah.
Just too much because then you're putting so much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
If you falter a little bit, teeter, then now you're really spanking yourself, right? And then your momentum is just going back downhill again.
It's very interesting. It's a great conversation.
I like that. I think I shared in the circle, but another gentleman like Kyle Cease, I think, did you see that post? He was talking about, so he's been doing these shorts, like he does a 60-second spot on Instagram. And he didn't send one to the team the one day. And he's done a couple hundred of them now. But his whole point was he's been doing them so long, it's just part of what he does now. So the metaphor, if you will, is just like taking care of the body, eating clean, whatever. It's like, and that's what I'm feeling right now. If I just keep doing these little habits, it just becomes who I am. I don't even think about it anymore. Right? I noticed that big time with nutrition. Like I didn't eat, I wouldn't say really eat that dirty, but it was the snacking in between meals. I feel like my 3 main meals, if you were pretty clean, but it was the quick grab or, we're running kids here and there and just grabbing something quick. But it's just about being disciplined and focused. Probably pretty cliche, but it is challenging. Yeah. But when you're really committed, and like you say, when you attune to your values and what is higher for you, it's not that difficult.
Yeah, just live in integrity.
Yeah.
Feels good, follow it. If it doesn't, question it and make a decision.
Yeah.
But I actually, one of the big takeaways I had today was, so when you start vibrating, and we'll just use it as life force energy, you start filling your life force energy. We all have magnetic fields, like we're drawn to certain people, we're not drawn to others. And when you insert yourself into other people that may be vibrating at a lower level, they're either going to draw you back, like your energy is either going to be drawn into theirs, and then you're going to find resonance. And resonance is just a description word for frequency, like birds fly in a V because of resonance. They understand their energy and their place just without speaking. And so those people will either draw you back in, or you stay in your values and increase your life force energy and magnetize them up
Yeah.
to you. So you can either falter and just fit in, or you can be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes the hardest part about being a leader is the arrows in your back, because, you know, it's easier to pull people back down than it is to build people up.
Yeah.
And sadly, in my experience, we're in a culture where when you're not ready to change, or you're uncomfortable with other people's success or growth, then you put them down.
Mm-hmm.
That's just been my experience.
Yeah.
But I've, you know, very intentionally surrounded myself with people that, you know, build each other up,
Mm-hmm.
higher and higher and higher, love each other, and it's been amazing, and highly recommend for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That goes back to the archetype you and I were talking about, the movement experience, and you've talked about it more, and it's just trying to be that higher version of the best version of your higher self, right? And it can be uncomfortable at times when you tune into who that person is. It's the answer, and it answers all the questions, and it gives you all the motivation you need, right? And that's just practice, like anything. It's just a muscle, being able to tune into that person. And, you know, I'll go and share my example of who mine is.
Yeah, damn right. It's on it.
So
If there is one, it should be yours.
So, we're still good here. So at the movement experience, we did this exercise, and actually this came more through for the purpose quest, but it also circled back for me at the movement experience. But I'm a huge fan of Tom Cruise. I don't maybe understand his life when it comes to some of the other choices he's made and stuff. If he's under some sort of other force or whatever else, it doesn't matter. But in cinema, on camera, in his work, I fucking love his drive.
Yeah.
Guy's 61 years old, jumping off of cliffs.
Like stunts.
What? Yeah. Like the preparation he puts into all his journey is insane. So for me, it's like, the purpose quest, and we did this exercise. We had to create a ship and a captain and all the shipmates and all that sort of stuff. And Tom Cruise is my captain.
I'm ready.
Yeah. And I've used it. Like I wish I had used it maybe this morning, but it's like, you know, anything I do now for the most part, like, instead of what would Jesus do, what would Tom Cruise do? Yeah. That fucker's going to go do push-ups or pull-ups. Yeah. That's what he's going to do to prepare for this next scene.
You know what?
You know, and
I actually have the thought of maybe Tom Cruise is such a dedicated actor because he's like, man, I got stuck in this weird church, but you know what? They really take care of me. I'm just going to distract myself with preparation for all my movies.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
To stay away from these creeps.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, nothing against Scientology. You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Love and light, baby.
Yeah, no judgment here.
Yeah.
You know, this world is challenging enough.
Let me be you, or let me be me.
Yeah.
You be you.
Yeah. You do you, boo.
I'm happy.
But there's a good example too of one could have too much judgment towards somebody and how they live their life behind closed doors or whatever. I don't fucking know how he lives his life. Maybe he doesn't even sleep. Maybe he is a vampire. I don't know. But from what I see on YouTube and going down the rabbit hole of Mission Impossible and all the behind the scenes stuff, like, fuck, guys are unreal. Yeah. You know, and so it motivates me. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I can take the good with the potential bad, if you will, or the stuff that I might.
I call that discernment.
Discernment, yeah.
Everyone should have a healthy amount of discernment. And to go back to the higher self is everything is trainable. We should be very intelligently training ourselves, our consciousness, where we direct our energy. So the higher self, visualization, meditation, the actively like choosing to be the higher self is just training yourself to make positive decisions with the forward momentum going up, instead of training yourself to be distracted on your phone, training yourself to be distracted, you know, with all the other things in life, the stressors, drama, you know, putting people down. Everything's trainable. The things that you speak about, you're going to speak about more often, just because that's how we're wired to do things. So if you know that everything's trainable and that you can inspire and empower yourself to be better, then choose a higher self archetype and know that what you can achieve in your life is a lot greater than anything you can imagine right now.
Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sakes, this is going to have a timeout. Just, I knew I should have locked that door. How's it going? Good. We're not open today.
Oh, you're
No, I was having a meeting with somebody, and yeah, I just grabbed along the front door. So, looking for a place to play? Oh, shoot. Okay. Take care. Thank you. Hey, I just spent $66.
Yeah. It's a $66
Oh, I was just waiting for
podcast.
I was just waiting for it to happen. Yeah. Oh well. Too funny. Hey, that's just grateful that someone would stop by here and want to hit balls in the summertime.
Business.
Yeah. What I was going to say there, actually, where I was going to go was golf metaphor. And I mean, I know there's a lot of sports out there, and I know there's a lot of people that are professionals in those sports that believe they're the greatest metaphor when it comes to life. But when I play golf, and the more I look at it, it's like it's such a spiritual journey, and it's such a, for me, it's one of the greatest metaphors for life. And the example that would be is changing bad habits. So I've got a couple things in my swing that I don't do well that really prohibits me from consistency and success. And my point there is it takes so much work to re-pattern myself, if you will. Like, feel versus real. So if I'm doing something where I'm coming too far, this is a quick example, whether it's right or wrong, coming too far to the inside, my feel has to be like I'm way out here. But in actual fact, when I actually swing the golf club, I'm still here. So my point is, to your point about rewiring and practice, it's like it takes a long time to change our patterns. We have to have grace and patience with ourselves when we are changing, because it's not easy. Not everybody does it, obviously. And even in this moment, I'm giving myself a little bit of a pat on the back because, I've actually probably avoided golf a little bit this year because it's been that painful for me. Because I'm just not finding enough time to practice and enough consistency, and I expect too much of myself. But there's other things in my life I can control, whether it's swinging kettlebell, going to your classes, going to yoga, like those things I can physically do. And I might not be perfect at them, but it's just easier to feel to improve. The golf swing for me is so challenging to change, and that's why some guys struggle with the game so much, even at a professional level. Ricky Fowler's been 3 years like off the grid, and all of a sudden he's had a resurgence this year, but he's been changing his swing for 3 fucking years. He's also had a child and his wife, so he's supporting that. But the point is, in that microcosm of an example, it's like it's difficult to change, So
it's the longer you've done something a certain way, the harder it is to change, because the deeper ingrained that neural pathway is. And this is an observation. It's also a truth that the older you get, the harder it is to change. Like,
the whole
change mindset, change, the way you speak, what you do, like how you eat. It is very hard to change.
Mm-hmm.
The longer you do things a certain way.
Yeah, the old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, We were
tough.
Yeah. We were with my older aunt and uncle, and they're just beautiful people. But they got talking a little bit about the news and stuff like that, and I just sit there in a place of non-judgment and just this is their world. This has been their world for 80 years. And there's a lot of stuff that has come to light, and there's a lot of information that they're not seeing, and there's probably a lot of information that they're not willing to look at, because it would just be a bomb in their face, So you just sit there and you kind of don't engage. You just kind of smile and nod and be soft and subtle about it, if you will. But to your point, it's just like it's really hard to change those habits, and especially when you continue to take that information in, or whatever the inputs might be,
The the most important thing I have changed in my life is the more that I change myself to be better, happier, healthier, to live the life that I want, has been not. I do a lot more listening and observing than I do talking or trying to change someone else's perspective. If someone asks me a question, I'll share my perspective. But even sometimes I choose how much I share, because arguments, it's really just fuel on a fire, and no one's really receptive to information in an argument. Mm-hmm. So is it truly serving, and is me coming off my center going to serve me at the end of the day, or is it just going to kind of put a wedge between a relationship? Because family can't, they're with you.
Yeah.
So you can just love them.
Do you feel you're the opposite before, where you were yapping more and preaching and whatever else?
So when I went to school, Paul said, now this is important information. You're going to go home and you're going to tell everybody what they should be doing. Don't do that. You don't want to be the holistic health Jesus. Mm-hmm. Focus on you. Let people come to you.
Yeah.
And I still did it. I went home and
because you're excited.
I'm excited. I love my family. I want to help them, and it honestly damaged relationships.
Oh shoot.
So it is what it is. But lessons are sometimes hard to learn, and it's fine that it turned out the way it is, because as you grow and you change, you start shifting the people that you spend time with. Mm-hmm. Because if they want to change, they'll change.
Yeah.
If they want to be closer to you, they can be closer to you. Mm-hmm. But you have a set of values, and you live in integrity, and you are very intentional with your life.
Yeah.
So if they're not going to, do the same, then it'll never work. Mm-hmm. So you can spend your whole life kind of like drag your family along, or you can just love them and their journey and not expect them to change, because that's a huge burden on yourself.
Yeah. I feel like I want to go a couple different ways. What I've recognized with being vulnerable, establishing boundaries, and living, in my integrity, is it's produced so much confidence. And that's no disrespect to anybody, but I feel like I know who I am.
Yeah.
And if someone wants to comment on me, towards me, judge me, say something either to my face or behind my back, I have all the confidence in the world to not plead my case, but justify or share or whatever. It's like I feel pretty strong. Mm-hmm. Like right now, it would take a lot to probably rock me. Mm-hmm. I really feel like you'd have to, I don't know where they'd get me. You'd have to, because I feel pretty sure of myself. And not in a cocky way, it's just, I feel like I know who I am. And all the decisions I made over the last few years have been for myself, to better serve myself, which in turn is better serve those around me. So you have fucking nothing to stand on. Good luck, But what you're sharing there too about wanting to help people, I've recognized that earlier on too. It's like, I think that's actually a good trait I had, like whether I was working for my father-in-law or I was working at the golf course. My father-in-law was in carpentry and stuff like that. But like, I was just I never talked. I just trying to anticipate his next move. What's he need? A nail, a screw, a sheet of drywall? What is it, right? Same thing on the golf course. Never, just did a lot of observing. And I think that's a great teacher instead of chatting, right? But when we were at the Pink concert, she played a song and she said a few things that even ruffled us the wrong way, because she's quite left-leaning, if you will. And where she was going, it was a little like insulting almost. And And so, again, using discernment, she has a great talent. We love this, but we don't so much like that. But I said to Terry, like, what would you do? Like, how would you handle this? Like, how do we not improve? Like, how do we help support people? And it's just by asking questions, but them asking it first, right? And we were kind of rehearsing, like, if we were in the dressing room with Pink or something, like, how would that conversation go? Because she's literally painting us with a brush. Yet she knows nothing about us. And we just spent fucking $3,000 on tickets to help her cause. Yet she went down this path and said a few things and was kind of contradictory. It was weird. It was a little weird. So yeah, just I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm just learning that living by example is the greatest teacher to everybody else, and it does have a ripple effect. You're witnessing it with your classes and your one-on-ones, and you keep attracting people, and you're changing people, and I can feel it around me a little bit too with friends or family, and so taking someone by the shoulders and trying to wake them up ain't gonna fucking work.
Yeah.
It's gonna make it worse.
It's gonna make it,
like you just alluded to there, right?
Yeah. It's a lot worse.
All that to say was just I'm finding just living my own truth, living by example is the only way. And the problem is the pendulum has swung so far one way, and we just wanted to come back to center so quick. We're so impatient because it's uncomfortable, but that's where all the growth is.
Yeah.
And there's people that were years before me enlightened and in tune to what's going on in the world and the power structures and everything else. I'm new to all this. Or these other people are probably like, where the fuck have you been? Like, this is all obvious. This is obvious 60 years ago, you know? So I just sit here and be as humble and modest as possible and just go, I don't fucking know anything. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself and
focus on yourself.
Let it go.
Yeah. The more you can love yourself, the more you can love others. And that pendulum is going to be at the center point for a blink of a second before it goes back up the other side.
Yeah.
So ride the wave.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be over soon, and then you're going to have to swim back out and catch another.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is life.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting time to be alive. But I do find, as long as I move my body, again, eating well, hydrating, I have enough. You know, I talked to Terry about this too because, you know, with me not doing a ton of turf work this year and stuff, like really trying to take time to enjoy the summer with the girls. Like, we've been to a lot of volleyball tournaments with Ella. It's been fun to watch her and, you know, spending time with G and everything else and family and in the backyard. So not producing income that way. I'm producing it elsewhere, but monetarily, like, thankfully we're in a financial spot where I can do it. But my point is, it's not overflowing, but I have enough to take care of myself right now, and that's good enough for me. So if I hit by a fucking truck tomorrow, none of it matters.
No.
And then Terry's got all life insurance money, and things are fine anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm so like, dude, like 2 years ago, for sure, even a year ago, I couldn't be in this position to be this comfortable with my life, with how I'd be anxious about the finances and this and that. I'm just so, money's always been there for us. I'm only assuming it will be there. And this is an abundant world.
Ease and flow.
Ease and flow.
There's there's the abundance mindset where there's plenty. You know, the world needs more. You know, It needs help. It needs love. It needs more love. As long as you can direct your energy towards love, everybody needs a little bit more love. So, it's when, and ease and flow, abundance, you know, that's expanding, it's opening. But when, you know, you have the lack mindset or greed, or there's not enough, you know, I need all the customers, the clients. We're really actually reducing our ability to help. Mm-hmm. And it's creating internal stress where we're now off our center again. Yeah. We're not okay with the reality of life, where it's all just maintain your center. Yeah. Control what you can control. Control the sphere that you're in, your family, your kids, your house. Yeah. Like, that's all that matters at the end of the day, you know?
I just had two thoughts there, and the one's overriding the other one. Actually, one thought I just had was when you were talking about when you're working in construction, when you have a physical result and you see it and you feel satisfied, that's a great feeling. But where I'm right now, like this space I've created, I'm creating, I would say, like invisible momentum. Like I probably don't know it, but I'm doing a lot behind the scenes that all of a sudden it's going to be, I'll be in the race car and it'll just be like a fucking rocket ship. I do kind of feel that. I feel like I'm in a slingshot, but it's just hard to see that because I'm used to achieving, I'm used to seeing physical results and everything. The other thought I just had too is, and I wrote this note down yesterday, whether it's for the podcast or just something maybe I'll share at some point on Instagram, but it's like, I don't think people contemplate death enough, and most people center themselves after a loss in their family or a loved one or something, right? Because it's like, fuck, we only have so much time on this planet. And immediately their instincts go, okay, I gotta start exercising more. I just gotta start taking care of this thing. I gotta make that phone call and repair that relationship. But, you know, look at through COVID. All this stuff has happened, and now we're just back to fucking all the bullshit again because no one is really paying attention. They're back to their normal lives. They're numbing again, whatever else. They're not paying attention, most people. At least that's how I see it. And it's going to take another hiccup or catastrophe or something, terrorist attack. I don't know what it might be. Maybe it's the aliens. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's something to go, oh, and allow them to listen to their intuition and their inner knowing, go, okay, I got to recalibrate. I need to, you know, improve this and that. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
there's, I think, so I heard that it's like 70% of the world is going to be, you know, just caught up in media, influence, government, all that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of influence, a lot of programming, a lot of from birth, right? It's hard to take yourself out of whatever, and then there's maybe like well, I don't know who's doing the math here, but I think it's like 90% just going about their day, going about their lives, taking in the information from the TV, producing for the few, and there's 10% that are like, I don't know.
yeah,
I'm not 100% sure.
mm-hmm.
But I think there's a tipping point eventually where enough people, you know, really have the desire to make a difference and to, you know, really live their life
mm-hmm.
and not be controlled or, technically controlled.
I saw a comment the other day, and this guy was just, he shared something. It was just simple, but a lot of what's going on today just takes a small amount of critical thinking. Like the amount of common sense to look at a situation and just go, that doesn't seem right. They're still sending billions of dollars across the pond. They're still putting, like, what? This doesn't make any sense. But again, I think sometimes, and I know this personally in my own life, when you're too close to the fire, you can't see it, right? And that's why somehow you got to remove yourself from the situation, like you're just saying. Unfortunately, maybe that 90% just aren't able to remove themselves or aware that they've got to just step back and go, is there anything else out there?
Or just focus on your sphere.
Yeah.
You know? Focus on your home. Focus on your kids. Focus on your wife. Like how beautiful would the world be if we weren't so outwardly focused and we just worked on ourselves, you know?
Well, that's where the machine does such a good job of distracting us, you know?
Yeah. That's the training thing.
Yeah.
Am I training myself to be distracted, or am I training myself to be the higher self,
mm-hmm.
the higher version of what my potential could be?
Yeah. I know the answer to this, but where's your optimism and pessimistic side lie when it comes to all the? And when I say this, we were at a tournament last week for Ella at the beaches in Toronto, and it's a huge beach, Woodbine Beach, whatever. And there's just people everywhere, and all the volleyball courts were full with athletes and also people just playing pickup volleyball and stuff. The beach was packed, different cultures, barbecuing and listening to their own music. And I was just like, I went for a run in between games, and I just experienced it all, smelt it all, and observed it all. And I had a ton of optimism for humanity. I was just like, this is what it is. Like, if you remove all the bullshit, these are just people living in their own spheres, their own tribes, doing their own thing, respecting everybody, keeping the beach clean. I was just like, this is possible.
Yeah.
This place can heal itself.
Absolutely.
You know?
I'm very optimistic. But I'm always surprised, you know. And your mindset is really, with my mindset around politics, you know,
I'm so nervous.
the reality of the challenges of life, what's in your control.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane. Just focus on you, you know, focus on your community and making the world a better place. And that's the best impact you can have. You can lose yourself in the distraction, or you can just narrow your focus.
Mm-hmm.
When you broaden or open your range of what you see, you're taking in a lot of information. It's overwhelming. You don't know what to do with it. But if you can narrow in, focus on the people that you love most, focus on yourself, because if you can get to the capacity you can love yourself, you can love others, you're going to make a huge dent.
Yeah.
You know? And it starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that. You can make a huge dent.
You could.
Yeah.
The beach.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love seeing just so many different cultures coming together, and it's all working out.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's just having a friggin' great time.
And there was just something, and no offense to those that might be struggling with some body weight and being out of shape and stuff, but like what I was observing, and call it being judgmental, but just assessing, it wasn't that bad. Like you can go to some places, some parks and stuff, and you're just like, we got some work to do here. But like, just there was so much activity and people looking for physical fitness and athletic. Like it was just, I was like, this is cool. You know, it was good to see.
Yeah.
Like when I was running, there was this dude. He must have been 60 and change. He's just fucking ripped. Like just lean, but not unhealthy. Like it was just like a physique. I was like, oh, that would be cool to aspire to.
Yeah.
And he's got headphones on and he's trying to balance himself like some sort of yoga shit on this railing and whatever else. So I ran by the first time he was doing this, and I come back and he was doing some other stretching and stuff. And I'm like, this guy is the epitome of health.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like this is awesome.
He's living his life. And
didn't give a shit about anybody.
No.
What he think this fucking guy doing is trying to stand on this bar. He's like, don't care. He's doing his own practice in his own world.
Yeah.
And
that's what you do. Like I said in men's group, just do you. You do you, and you would be surprised at the amount of people you inspire to be them.
That is the thing. Like he is ingrained in my memory now. Like when I think about that,
he had an impact.
He had an impact.
Yeah.
And when I think about that Woodbine Beach and I think about the volleyball and stuff, I'll think about that run and I'll think about this guy who had black shorts on and headphones on or whatever, and just looked like he was in the greatest shape of his life.
60.
You know?
Amazing. Phenomenal.
Yeah. No offense, maybe he was younger, I don't know, sorry. No, he no.
He's fucking 90.
Yeah.
You know? He could even be older.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. Alrighty.
That was awesome.
Yeah. We're almost out of water, but I like that. And this has been kind of a theme for a couple of our talks, I believe. Yeah. It's coming back to center, taking care of ourselves, and that's just where I'm trying to reside too.
Yeah. That's really what it is.
Yeah. But it's not that complicated, but it takes a lot of practice.
It takes a lot of practice
until you're embodying it.
You lived a whole life of distraction, confusion.
Yeah. I'll keep talking, but I think that's where you're having such a great impact too, is because people see you embodying your nutrition, even something, doing handstands as a daily practice, like all that stuff.
Playfulness.
The playfulness, like you're living in your truth, and I think that's why your ripple effect is having such great waves,
It's the principle of the love boomerang.
Yeah.
You throw love out into the world, and you just wait for it, and then one day it'll come back, but you gotta give up the time, the how and the when.
Yeah.
It'll come. Yeah. And it's finally coming back, but all those days where I was just studying and obtaining knowledge and I'm honestly beating myself up, feeling like I wasn't achieving anything. Now I can just kind of sit back and be like, okay, it was worth it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But man, it was a long road to get here.
Yeah. Good for you, bro. Alrighty.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah.
All right. This was awesome. This was a good one.
Thank you for being with us. We love recording these podcasts. If you know anyone who would resonate with today's episode, we would be grateful if you would share it with them. If you have any questions or comments, do not be shy and reach out. We would love to connect with you. Until next time, be well, love yourself, and live consciously.